Hello, Deke Sharon here, coming to you live from Camp Acapella. But it's quiet right now because everybody's in their rooms rehearsing, so I can talk to you now. It is time for me to take a viewer question. Are you ready? And the question is this. Dear Deke, my group wants to start adding staging during points of interest of our songs to enhance the performances. Do you have any advice about going about starting this? No, I'm so sorry, I have no idea. Ha! When have I ever had no idea? Come on, who are you talking to here? I got all kinds of ideas. Are you ready? Number one. Okay, the most important thing about any kind of blocking or movement or choreography is like the Hippocratic Oath with doctors. First, do no harm. You need to make sure that any movement you have in the song is in no way impeding the singer's ability to sing or breathe or connect to the song emotionally. Those choreographed songs that have all kinds of movement, you know what I'm talking about, the ones that are like snap and switch and bit and the arms and the all this kind of stuff. Ugh. Unless the song is like the YMCA, yeah, like you gotta do that with YMCA. So if you're not doing the YMCA, what's with the arms? Like, I guess if you're doing some kind of show choir-y thing, a song from Glee or whatever, like, okay. But a lot of the time, like, when you see acts on stage, they're not doing, like Beyonce's not doing a lot of stuff with her arms. What are you people doing? The bottom line here is that you shouldn't ever let the movement get in the way of the emotional message and the mood and the feeling and the experience and expression of the song. That's a huge no-no. Because sometimes people think like, well, we're choreographing, so we need to fill every moment. No, no, no. In the same way you don't need to fill every single moment of the song with chords, huge stacked up sound, you don't need to fill every single moment with movement. Sometimes not moving is the best thing to do. Number two is very simple. Look at the blocking and the choreography and the movement within that style. Makes sense, right? So if you're doing a Motown tune, look at what the Supremes did and the Four Tops and the Temptations and the moves that they have going on there. Okay, this is an arm thing, but I don't do it well, but they did it great. You should watch it. It's so smooth. Anyway, the movement within the style of Motown is part of Motown, so you should look at that language. You don't have to copy what they're doing, but know the language, know the style, and make it your own. Same thing goes for hip hop. If you've got a hip hop tune, some hip hop dancing makes sense. If you've got a tune from the 1930s, then you want to do the Charleston, you know, whatever. You get the point. Know the movement the same way you know the musical style, and that'll answer a lot of your questions. Number three is pretty straightforward. Follow the music. So in an arrangement, for instance, there are going to be times when the music is unified. Like there's a big chord and everyone's singing the same words at the same time. That's a good time to have the movement be unified. Well, maybe there are times when there are people going off and doing their own things musically. Well, then they can do their own things physically. There's a time where there's improvisation, then have people improvise with their bodies. Like that, the music already gives you a path to the language and the style and the fluidity of the movement that you're going to want in that song. Make choices that dovetail, that fit nicely with what's going on sonically, and you're a lot of the way there. Oh, and when there's silence, stop. Like if you're being quiet, what are you running around doing? This is shh. Okay. Number four. Don't be afraid to leave something to the moment, to allow people to improvise. Now, there's something called the acabop, which is when you see the collegiate a cappella group and they're kind of stuck in that nice kind of double arc and they're just kind of bouncing around and doing their own thing. Like, there's something to that. Yes, it's a little dorky, but hello, this is a cappella, like we're expected to be a little dorky at times. But it works because every single person is moving in their own way and they're moving in a way that's connected to what they're singing and to who they are. I'm gonna bring you to a little analogy here. You ready? Let's go to this other camera. So when you're at a wedding, it's really awkward at first because there's no one on the dance floor and a couple people are up there dancing, or you got like a 5-year-old dancing with grandma and it's kind of this kind of awkwardness, right? Like at 5:30, 6 o'clock, right? But by 11 p.m., everybody's on the dance floor and they're kind of crammed together and people are just free and relaxed and exploding. That's what you want to create in your group as well. What do I mean by this? Well, when people are packed together, they actually feel more free to move because no one's staring at their whole body. They're not exposed. They're part of this pack. So it may seem counterintuitive to you, but the closer together you bring your singers, within reason, I mean, they're not gonna like cram together like they're in one of those telephone booth Volkswagen Bug contests in the 1960s where everybody's trying to see how many people you get in there. Not that, but when people are close together, they actually feel more free to move because they are part of a unit, if that makes sense. So the akabop allows people to move in a way that I'll bet you if you spread them out into a line, you put them on stage, they would not be nearly as comfortable moving. Number 5, just like music, record yourself. Take a video of your rehearsal and see how the movement works. Because it's not just where your bodies are, but it's also how's your face, what's your countenance, what's your energy that's coming across through that movement, and how do they all work together? In the same sense that when you hand out an arrangement, the song isn't done. When you come up with some initial choreography and you give it to your singers, they're not done. You want to give them an opportunity to put it in their bodies, let it breathe, let it move in the space, see what works for them, nudge it, change it, shift it around, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's only after seeing yourselves on video and starting to create that feedback loop that you'll really have a sense of how certain movements work with your singers and what's ultimately going to be the most powerful thing of all. And that's it. There's the magic. There's the answer to your question, dear reader. I hope this is helpful. Please, if you have any suggestions about any of this, any choreographic ideas or whatever, post them in the comments below. We want this to be a place where people share ideas, etc., etc. And I'll see you next time on stage doing the later.